Hello there, Lunar Squadron, and welcome back to the channel. Today, we have another very exciting Star Wars Outlaws news update video, as we just received brand new details about the customization in this game and some new space combat gameplay details. But before we get into all of this new information, if you're new to the channel, we would love to have you as always. And the way to do that, just go down below this video, hit that little subscribe button, the bell notification right on next to it. It'll notify you every single time that Andreas and I upload. And if you'd like to take this conversation beyond the comment section on YouTube, make sure to head over to Twitter and follow us at Lunar Squadron, or jump into our Discord server. Information for all of that will be down below. Now, with all that out of the way, Andreas, you ready to talk about some new customization and gameplay details?
Oh yeah, let's do this, guys. Today's article is out of GamesRadar.com. It is entitled, "The Trailblazer ship in Star Wars Outlaws drew inspiration from an unlikely place, turtles." This is by Heather Wald. Nick, you ever expect the Trailblazer to be influenced by a good old-fashioned turtle?
I gotta be honest with you, Andreas. If you would have told me we would have sat down and made a video about a Star Wars Outlaws news update and somehow turtles were involved, I just simply would not believe you. Now, of course, guys, this is in fact true, and if you read the first half of this article, it talks about how the Trailblazer design was in fact influenced by a turtle. However, later on in this article, we actually get a lot of exciting brand new details about ship customization and how that will impact the gameplay for you as you progress through Star Wars Outlaws, and how there's a sort of power creep that is involved in this game. Just a lot of really exciting stuff. So where I want to start is with this paragraph, where it starts with a quote from Frederick Thielander, who is a lead gameplay designer for this game. And he says, "During the course of the game, there are ship vendors. There are key parts that she can find that allows her to change things like cannons, missiles, the hull, the shields, the engine, and customize the different liveries, and even exhaust fuel to change the color of the exhaust. Really, this is about customizing how you like to play in space, but also a separate kind of power journey as you get into more and more dangerous scrapes, possibly wind pissing off some of the syndicates." Andreas, there's a lot going on here. We knew that there was going to be some sort of ship customization in this game, but I don't think we were expecting it to be this robust. It sounds like we're going to be able to do a lot of things. We're going to be able to change things out like the cannons, the missiles, but also the hull and the shields, and even the exhaust. We can change the color of the exhaust. It's like Rocket League up in here.
Yeah, it is. I'm honestly very excited for this because I'm looking forward to all of the finer details when it comes to customization. Think back to Jedi Survivor, where we had the different modular options to customize BD1, where, for example, when you exchanged his headpiece, you got that completely different look when you actually looked through the visor. I really appreciated little details like that, and I'm hoping that exchanging things like cannons, for example, has different audio associated to it. Maybe some Easter eggs in there, like I'm thinking of like the Slave 1 cannon audio, or, you know, with missiles, maybe they have like a seismic charge type thing. I know those are both Slave 1 audio bits, but you get what I'm saying, Nick, right?
Oh, absolutely. There really is a lot of great potential here for customizing your ship, just because there are so many iconic different things they could pull from in the Star Wars universe. However, the fun doesn't stop there. We actually learn a little more about customization as Samuel DeVos, who is a lead concept artist for this game, he picks up and he says, "For the Trailblazer and the Speeder, we wanted to give the player a lot of freedom to change their look as they go throughout the galaxy. There are additional things that will change your gameplay experience slightly, but the actual visuals of the Trailblazer, the color, doesn't impact that. But some of the gameplay upgrades are visible once you upgrade." Again, a lot of exciting stuff here. We also learned that we're also going to be able to customize the look of the Speeder. I'm really excited to see what that is and really how in-depth that goes, because I know that Massive is really proud of the design that came up for the Speeder, so I wonder how much of the Speeder we're going to change. But we also learn that some of these customizations, like some of the things we do to our ship, will actually have an impact on our gameplay. And I do wonder what exactly that means. Of course, if you guys have seen the Tatooine gameplay that was released out of IGN, you know that whole mission was about going to get a brand new turret for the Trailblazer just to make you a stronger foe in space against the Empire and the Syndicates. I do wonder if he is referring to something like that, or if there is actually going to be a lot of give and take when it comes to what you pick to put on your ship. Or do you pick a certain shield here because it gives you some pros in some ways, but perhaps, you have to give a little and some defense in another way? Like, there's a lot of opportunity here, and I'm really excited to learn what exactly they mean by it impacts your gameplay as you go along.
Absolutely, Nick. And I'm really glad that you brought up that Jawa selling you the turret gameplay segment that we received from IGN this week, because one thing that I was immediately curious about is this article, of course, saying that there are different ship vendors in the game. That mission looked almost like a main mission of the game, where you went to the expert, who's the Jawa, and then the Jawa helped you install the turret onto your vehicle. I'm wondering how many upgrades in this game are by way of experts and by way of those narrative diegetic experiences, and then how many are through just standard ship vendors that may be throughout the different urban areas or shop areas in this game. So I'm very curious what the breakdown looks like and what sort of upgrades go to experts and then what sort of upgrades go to ship vendors. Because, Nick, one thing that we've talked about a great deal of with this game is this game really does revolve around the credits. You're saving up credits all game, you're playing Sabacc, you're planning a heist, you're doing all of this stuff with credits. Like, for example, you can bribe officers. And so we really talked about what is the value of credits in this game? What are credits going to get you? Will it actually be something that you're going to want to build up, or is it just a number that's arbitrary that you're building up a balance just because it feels nice? And it looks like, at least with there being ship vendors in the game, that this is another element where we can now raise money, and I'm hoping that it's going to be worthwhile. I'm hoping that these upgrades are things that we are actually going to want to save money for, because that will increase the stakes when we are sitting at a Sabacc table or doing anything else that involves risk with your money in this game.
Yeah, definitely. And I gotta say, I am really excited to explore around the different ship vendors on the different planets and just see what you can find in their inventories, because we already know from some of the pre-order bonuses that Massive is already doing some callbacks to other Star Wars lore and an established Star Wars story. So I'm really excited to explore around and just see what we find. Are there any references to the prequel trilogy or to more of the original trilogy? Like, there is a lot of potential. I know you kind of brought it up, but I really am excited to explore around the open world and find some of these cosmetics and just see how far Massive took it. And another thing I'm really excited to learn more about and really get my hands on and experience is this quote-unquote power journey, they're calling it. You may know it as a power creep if you play other games. And the author talks about that here in this second to last paragraph, where they say, the power journey Thielander mentions refers to the upgrades that may help you out in dogfights among the stars. During my hands-on time, I got the chance to try out a short stint in space in the ship with Imperial TIE fighters in hot pursuit thanks to my wanted level. I am curious to see how dicey and dangerous space could potentially become should you anger both the Empire and the Syndicates. I imagine upgrades would certainly come in handy then. Ultimately, the customization options are baked into the experience to suit your own style, cosmetically and otherwise. Andreas, a lot of really great stuff here. I love that they're keeping to that trend that they're trying to establish with this game with, experience this game in your own way. And we're also going to build that into the customization. Make the ship look the way you want it to look. Make your speeder make it look the way you want it to look. You may not be able to customize your own character completely, but we're going to give you customization and ways to make your own journey in the gameplay, in the customization for your ship. Like, they're going to find ways to implement that in that game. And I do think that is a pretty good compromise. And then another thing, they talk about how when you come across stronger enemies, you're going to need those upgrades for your ships. And I know, Andreas, you were thinking about Star Destroyers and what that could possibly mean, because there are, rumors circulating that perhaps we could come up against ships such as Star Destroyers, or perhaps some smaller but still pretty significant Imperial ships.
Yeah, we did, because we did see those Star Destroyers in the trailers for this game, and that was the first thing that I wondered is, are you going to be able to pull up in space and then you just see a Star Destroyer out of nowhere, and then you have to figure out, like, what the hell am I going to do? Do I run? Do I pull a Han Solo and hide and pretend that I'm garbage? What do you exactly do in that situation? I want this game to throw difficult situations at me, because that will again incentivize me to actually want to upgrade my ship. And this is something that I think Starfield in particular did well. I know a lot of people love to bag on Starfield, but Nick, if you remember at the beginning of Starfield, when your ship was ill-equipped and not well upgraded, you come up against certain enemies and you feel rattled in space. You feel the danger out there. And that really did motivate me to upgrade my ship in Starfield. It made it almost a necessity at certain points where I had to go back and upgrade my ship. And I like that extra bit of challenge. It definitely kept me in the customization room with the ship, and it kept me interested in the system. I hope they kind of follow that blueprint here, and it's not purely a cosmetic journey. So them focusing and honing in on what they call the power journey here, I think it's a good thing.
Yeah, I think that is really important for me as well, to, sort of feel the stakes when you're out there in space. I don't want to just go out there with the default ship and just melt TIE fighters, right? Like, I don't want to just be overpowered. I want there to be a reason for me to go out and seek out these upgrades, seek out these customization things. Like, perhaps I just keep getting blown up in space. Well, I can fix that. I can remedy that by going out and finding and unlocking some of these upgrades. I want to be incentivized for the space open world gameplay, because I think that's something that has the potential to be forgotten by a lot of people. They're going to want to just get to the planet and get to their next mission. But I want there to be some stakes baked in with the space combat, because that's a really important part of the Star Wars universe. It is called Star Wars for a reason. Space combat plays a huge role in that, and I just hope they have baked that in to the gameplay in this game, and it sounds like they have. And then this last quote that I want to finish on just really kind of emphasizes how much customization matters to them, and giving the player that freedom to make these choices when it comes to things like that, but still respecting established Star Wars lore and things that came before it. It says, when it comes to customization, it's very important for us and for the team to respect the shapes that are established with that initial design, but at the same time give the player a lot of agency in defining, how do I want to look when I'm in a dogfight, or what do I want to look at when I turn around the corner and I see the Trailblazer after not having seen it for a few minutes or during a quest. So it's a lot of fun to see how big of a spectrum we can do in variety for the Trailblazer, but also for the speeder. It's such an honor to be involved with that type of stuff, and the team did an amazing job. I really like the part that he brings up here about when you turn the corner, when you're on a planet and you see the Trailblazer, and you want to be proud of your ship. Like, that's your ship, right? That's something you want to show off around the galaxy. I do love that point, and I just love that they are all about trying to give players the freedom to craft their own story with K and have their own unique experience. And that's something that they talk about with the gameplay, and now we're hearing it with the customization, and we know it's baked in with a lot of other systems in that game, and I really do like what Massive is doing with that.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more, Nick. And this is an area of the game that I think is particularly important because, of course, we love Jedi Survivor and loved Jedi Fallen Order, but Stinger Mantis customization is something that they actually dialed back in that transition from Fallen Order to Jedi Survivor. Of course, in Fallen Order, you were able to change the color of the Stinger Mantis, and you were no longer able to do so in Jedi Survivor. So, whereas they beefed up a lot of the other customization, I felt like ship customization in Star Wars games recently have kind of taken a back seat, and I'm really happy that we have a whole article here dedicated to different modes of customization, all the way down to the exhaust fuel to change the color of your exhaust. I think that's a really cool thing. Happy to see it back in a Star Wars game. That said, guys, let us know which of these customization options you are all most excited to use in Star Wars Outlaws, whether it be the cannons, missiles, the hull, shields, engine, liveries, exhaust fuel. There's so many different areas of customization in this game, and I'd love to also hear some of your creative ideas for different customization options when it comes to ships. Hell, maybe even tell us some of your ideas when it comes to the speeder as well, because I do think this article was being a bit cheeky at the end by dropping the reference to the speeder. I do wonder how deep that rabbit hole goes as well, and hope for maybe future articles on that point. Anyway, guys, that's going to do it for this one. Thank you all so much for watching, and as always, we will see you all next time.